Hare Krishna. Question: was destiny against Karna? Answer: not exactly. Destiny gives something good to some people and destiny gives something bad to some people. But actually, destiny is never entirely against someone or entirely for someone. So yes, Karna, because he was actually born from great parents, a Devta and a Kshatrani, and yet he was labeled as a Shudra throughout his life. He was a Suta throughout his life. So that was his misfortune, and we could say that was destiny working against him. So now this is further we could say that he got training from Parshuram, but he was cursed and to forget the mantras, and then he was also cursed by a Brahmana that his chariot will go into the earth, and all the such incidents can be said that can be used to make a case that destiny was against him. But then we also need to consider that he met Duryodhana, and Duryodhana gave him honor and power. So, if at all we are going to think of things from the material perspective, then he for a person who was born as a Suta to be right the right time, and to come exactly at the right time when the martial exhibition was there, and when Duryodhana's animosity towards the Pandavas and especially Arjuna was at his peak, and Duryodhana was just looking for someone to act as a foil for Arjuna and for Karna to come exactly at that time. And it was not that Karna planned it all. Karna wanted to come to the martial exhibition, but his coming there at the exact time when Duryodhana was desperately looking for a foil to Arjuna, we could say that is also the working of destiny. And in that way, destiny gave him a good deal, because he was just an unknown Suta at that time. But in one moment, he got a as a close friend a powerful Duryodhana, and he also got a great kingdom. So how many sons of Sutas will ever get that? Now we could say that yes, that was because he had trained so much in archery and because he had become expert archer. That's why Duryodhana gave it to him. Yes, that is true, but it is not that everybody who is skillful, who is talented, they all always achieve success. So there are certain things which are in our hands, and there are significant number of things that are not in our hands. So, in that sense, it is destiny which gave him a favorable deal. That yes, he was an expert Kshatriya, but for him to come at that time, for him to be able to exhibit excellent performance, which is equal to Partha's, and thus to be able to do the what was required for attracting the friendship of Duryodhana, it all happened right at that time. And so that was destiny giving him a favorable hand. And most importantly, we see that that when we say destiny was against someone, that primarily means that wrong things happened to him. Although he was a good person, but bad things happened to him. But then we see that Karna is not just a wronged character. Karna also acted as a wrong character. That means it was he who suggested that Draupadi be disrobed. It was he who called Draupadi a prostitute. It was he who sided with the Kauravas on many occasions against the Pandavas, and it was because of him that Duryodhana had the audacity to provoke the Pandavas and to wage a war against them. And if Karna had not been there by Duryodhana's side, Duryodhana would not have been so obstinate. He may well have accepted Krishna's peace proposal, and a whole catastrophic war could have been avoided. So Karna was not just a wronged character; he was also a wrong character on several occasions. And most importantly, as far as destiny is concerned, we see that the Lord of Destiny, Krishna himself, came to Karna, and Krishna offered Karna everything. Krishna told him that Duryodhana has offered you kingship. That is just of one Pradesh Anga. I can offer you the kingship of the world practically. You are the eldest among you are meant to be the eldest among the Pandavas. So you will become the king, and Yudhishthira and even Arjuna will follow you as the Devtas follow Indra. So what this means is that Krishna, the Lord of Destiny, offered him everything. So at this particular point, destiny worked extremely favorably for him. Now Karna did not deserve this. Actually, Karna deserved to be punished for all the wrongs that he had done earlier. But rather than recording the uh, rather than having to suffer for all those wrongs, Krishna, as the Lord of Destiny, offered him a masterly opportunity. Unfortunately, Karna, because of his misdirected sense of loyalty, did rejected Krishna's invitation. He thought that it is Duryodhana who has offered me a kingdom, and he has offered me his friendship. How can I reject that? But actually, the kingdom that Duryodhana had offered, that was not actually his to offer. At that time, he was simply a prince, and who was going to be the successor was not clear. And that's why when he offered the kingdom, so it was actually it was not a proper thing for him to do, because he did not, it was not his kingdom to offer, actually, precisely speaking. But even then, the point is that ultimately everything belongs to the Supreme Lord, and Duryodhana had also got it from Krishna, and Krishna, who is the Lord of everything, was inviting him on the side of virtue. So for him to reject the opportunity for turning towards Krishna for the sake of choosing Duryodhana was a disastrous blunder. This was, destiny determines what happens to us. Our free will and how we use that free will determines how we respond to it. So, for whatever wrongs may have happened to Karna, here he made a disastrous blunder, that he chose man over God. He rejected God for the sake of a man, and not even a virtuous man, a man who was quite vicious, that is Duryodhana. And even if he was not did not have a devotional mindset, and even if he did not consider Krishna as God, still he could have used his practical sense of virtue. Clearly, the Pandavas were virtuous, the Kauravas were vicious, and he could have chosen virtue. So he gave up a life of honor for choosing, for the sake of the word of honor. The word of honor means he had said to Duryodhana that I will always be with you and I will be your friend. And he but by being a friend to a dishonorable person, by honoring his word to a dishonorable person, he had to live a dishonorable life, fighting on the side of vice. But if he had come over to the side of the Pandavas, then he would have been able to live a life of honor, a life of virtue. So he rejected that, and that was his great blunder. So when destiny offered him an opportunity, he rejected that opportunity. When the Lord of Destiny offered him that opportunity, he rejected it. And that was a tragic blunder from his side. So it was not that destiny was against him. It was that, yes, destiny gave him some unfavorable things, but destiny that way gives everybody some unfavorable things. The Pandavas lost their father when they were still very young, and the Pandavas, by higher arrangement beyond their control, were put into a family where their cousin was so viciously envious against them. So, what had the Pandavas done to deserve this? So we could say the Pandavas also got a bad raw deal in losing their father and losing their and in having a hostile cousin. But they accepted that. Ultimately, our life is determined not by what happens to us, but by what we do in response to what happens to us. Our choices are what determine the success or failure of our life. And Karna, especially at the final strategic moment, made a decisive blunder. And thus, it was not that destiny ruined him; it was he ruined himself by making wrong choices. So Krishna embraced Karna and told him, "O Karna, vinashakale viparita buddhi," that when a destruction comes, a person's intelligence gets perverted. And then he says, "Now we will meet in the battlefield." So Karna sealed his own fate by his wrong choice. Destiny did not kill him; he killed himself. by going against the Lord of Destiny. Thank you. Hare Krishna.